Hey guys, welcome back to the Frugal Life of Mercedes. I am Mercedes. I have been getting lots of requests for cook with me videos, and if you guys have been with me for a while, you know these are way out of my comfort zone. And the reason they are out of my comfort zone is, one, I actually hate to cook. Hate to cook. And I say that just because I don't get any enjoyment out of it. I really love food and I love eating, and I am definitely a foodie. But cooking is just not something that comes naturally to me. Baking, on the other hand, I really enjoy baking, but nothing super fancy. But you guys seem to really like the cook with me videos, and I cook pretty much 3 meals a day. So I figured if you guys like the videos, then I will make them for you guys. And when I say hate, I don't hate making these videos for you guys. It's out of my comfort zone to cook in front of people, simply because I don't follow a lot of rules that other people do when they cook. For example, if I don't have butter, we're going to use margarine or vegetable oil. If I'm going to make spaghetti and we don't have ground beef, guess what? We're going to use chicken or go vegetarian. And I'm just not one to go run to the store for every little specific ingredient. I just kind of make do with what I have on hand, but you guys seem to really like that. And I think you guys really like the chatty part, which the thing is, I'm known in my personal life for being very chatty, which is perfectly fine. All the women of my family are extremely chatty women, but I felt like when I was doing chatty videos in the past, like when I first started, it was not really well received. But if you guys like to see me chat and cook, then, I will be more than happy to do that. I want to give you guys what you want, what you're interested in. So if you guys are interested in me cooking, and you guys understand that I don't follow normal cooking things, then I am all for it. Now, of course, I use clean utensils. I wash my fruits and vegetables and produce and all that stuff. I keep my hands immaculately clean while I'm cooking. My kitchen is clean. So it's not those kinds of things. It's just I don't really follow recipes, and I'm not really specific with measurements. And I just kind of do what I think is right. And we don't keep pepper in the house, the seasoning pepper, at all, because I don't like pepper. And everyone's always like, gotta add pepper. But I believe in only eating the things that you like, and that includes seasonings. So when I show you guys stuff, make it the way that you would want to make it. So I did get a request to see me make some desserts. I have not made desserts on this channel in a long while. I made some over the summer that were some crock pot desserts, which is a preference of mine. But I got a request to make a apple crisp, which I have made apple crisps before, and I happen to have all the ingredients, so I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to cook that, and then in the description box below, I will put the ingredients, the actual ingredients that I got from a Google search. But when I make something like this in my own personal life and not showing it to you guys, I don't follow a recipe at all. So to start with, the recipe calls for 6 apples, 2 tablespoons of sugar, cinnamon, ground cinnamon to taste, 1.5 teaspoons of lemon juice. But if you don't have lemon juice, I would just do without it. I don't usually use it, and it turns out fine. But I happen to have lemon juice. This is from the Dollar Tree, so we will be using that today. Then a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of oatmeal. It said the old-fashioned oats, but I don't have the old-fashioned oats, so we're just going to use the just regular quick oatmeal, and I've used that before, and it turns out fine. 1/4 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of butter, and a pinch of salt. I already have the oven preheating. That is the beep that you heard. So I'm going to go ahead and peel these apples. And these apples came from the food pantry. So I just got off of work, and I am going to be making this apple crisp, as I said. And after this apple crisp, I'm going to do another cook with me video on what I'm having for dinner. So you guys can stay tuned for that one. That one will come out a different day. And the recipe calls for butter, but if you guys have been with me for a while, you know that I have a dairy sensitivity and I pretty much don't keep, I almost never buy butter. So we have vegetable oil, which we will be using, and I've used vegetable oil before and it's turned out fine. But if you have butter and that's your preference, and use butter. I've also used coconut oil before. I've used, can't believe it's not butter spray before. It's really about what you guys have in your house. And that's a big thing about being frugal minded, is maybe not go to the store for every little thing. Now, if that's what your guys' preference is, then you do what works for you. But I am not going to the store for every little thing. And I also really only buy stuff that I like. I like butter. I like the way that it tastes. However, it makes me sick. So I really try to avoid dairy, which you guys, if you watch my What I Eat in a Day, you will see I do eat ice cream sometimes and cheese on occasion and different things. But really, dairy makes me very sick, and I just would rather not be sick. So, but if I have something like vegetable oil or coconut oil, then I'm fine. What else? What else was I going to talk to you guys about? Oh, so I remembered this funny story from when I was a little girl. There are these ladies that I watch on YouTube, and I'm going to get their name wrong, but I will try to put their channel in the description box, and I'm really sorry. Murano Moms. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing things. But they are two mothers that have a little girl named Ani, and they are just so sweet, and I really enjoy their videos. And they were talking about, it was like in an Instagram post, and they were talking about how their daughter asked for a raw potato to eat. And I believe Ani is between 2 and 3, which is the same age as my niece. So I can totally attest to they want what they want. Even there's no like reasoning with them. So she got a raw potato and took a bite and spit it out, and then was like, I definitely want an apple. And so then I had typed in a story that, so when I was a little baby, I wanted cucumbers, and that was pretty much the only way that I would behave in the store. So I wasn't one of those little kids that like wanted candy. My mom would give me a raw cucumber, and of course most people eat cucumbers raw. My mom would give me a cucumber from the produce section for me to gnaw on. But if you guys know, most cucumbers in grocery stores are covered in like wax. So my mother would wipe the wax off as best she could on her shirt and give it to me, and I would be very occupied. And I still to this day have a huge love for cucumbers. I could eat cucumbers every day. I love them. But really, I find that it's hard to find good cucumbers. So, because I like English cucumbers, but they're very expensive, at least where I live. And then a lot of times they just don't taste very good. And I've gotten cucumbers from like farmers markets and stuff, and I think it's the same thing. They're just not that good. So, you know, that is what it is, I suppose. All right, so I've got all my apples peeled, and now we're just going to cut them. And another thing to know, guys, you do not have to peel your apples when you make an apple crisp. That's totally a personal preference. So we're going to put those, I've got a bowl over here. Now, these apples have been in been around for a little while, so that's part of the reason why I'm making the apple crisp now. So the skins are starting to get a little funny, but the inside of the apple is perfectly fine. So that's the only reason I'm cutting off the skin, but you guys do what's going to work best for you and what you guys like. And you guys seem to really like stories from my childhood, because I had shared some stories about growing up with lots of animals, and I had a couple of people comment that they're impressed how well I could remember. These weren't even my animals, they were my grandparents' animals. And I have a very good memory. I always have. My mother is sometimes very surprised at how much I remember from when I was a little girl. And I think, so when I realized that I had a good memory so I was born in May of 1990. My brother was born in March of 92. So we are just shy of 2 years apart. We're actually the closest in age. So I am currently, as of today, I am a month and, well, yeah, I guess yesterday was the 21st. My birthday is on May 21st. So I am a month away from being 31. And my brother turned 29 in March. So for a couple of months, he's 29 and I'm 30, and that's pretty much, and then I'll be 31 and he'll be 29. So when I realized that I had a good memory I kept having this like weird flashback to Spencer, which is my brother that's closest in age to me, being very sick, and he just seemed very, very weak, and his back was all blotchy. And so I was like, that's weird. And I was like, and it wasn't really a dream. It was more like a flashback that kept coming up. So I just asked my mom, like, this was, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something at this point. So I asked her, I was like, I keep having this weird flashback of Spencer, very little. He seems very uncomfortable. He had a red, splotchy, and I guess he had a really bad sunburn. But I would have been less than 3, and he would have, well, okay, let's see. If I would have been 3, he would have been, yeah. So little, just very little. And my mom was like, yeah, your brother had a terrible sunburn as a infant, and it had been some sort of, my birth father was watching us and didn't put sunblock on my young brother, and it was some sort of ordeal like that. And my mom was like, you were like less than 3 years old, maybe 3 years old at the time. And she's like, did somebody tell you that story? And I was like, no, which nobody would have been able to, because I have an older sister, but she's not that much older than me. So a bunch of, we were all very little together. Okay, guys, so that is the apples. And then we're going to start adding the ingredients. So it calls for a pinch of salt. And then I'm going to use ground cinnamon to taste. And I get my ground cinnamon from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to add the ingredients. And again, guys, the full recipe will be in the description box below. So my mom was like, you were basically a baby when that happened. And she's like, how is it that you remember that? And I was like, I don't know. And so when I was really little, we lived in a house in Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I'm originally from, is Cleveland. And so I told her, I was like, well, I remember our house. And she's like, what do you mean you remember our house? And so then I described what our home in Cleveland looked like. And I think we moved out of there when I was, let's see, my grandmother passed away 95, yeah. I guess I would have been 5. Yeah, and so, but I remember it like it was yesterday, and my mom was like, how is it that you remember the house? And I was like, I don't know, I just do. I just do. And so then it was like, that was when I realized that I have a really, apparently it's a very good memory, because most people don't remember that far back. I have a friend that she doesn't remember anything before 8. Like, she was like, I have no recollection of anything like before 8 or 9. And I was like, that's odd. And she's like, well, little bits of memory, but she's like, not anything like you where it's like you can remember being 3 years old. But it's like, when I think about it, I don't remember that I was 3. What I remembered was the house and what it looked like. And then I remember my brother being very small. And that's how I figured that we were little. It's 1, 2, 3. So anyway, apparently I've got a good memory. I'm getting the flour in there. We need one more of those. And then I think, oh yeah, I need the lemon juice, which, as I've said, guys, I've made this without lemon juice and it's turned out just fine. So again, if you don't have it, I don't think that it's the end of the world, but although I get a lot of slack for that in my personal life, because people are like, you don't follow blah, 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 you have to. And I was like, well, most of my stuff turns out and I don't follow directions. So, but I also joke with people that I really don't, what's it called? I don't really cook unless it's in a crock pot most of the time. Like, I always joke with people, if I can't cook it in a crock pot, then I don't want to cook it. And none of my partners have ever gone hungry, so. There's just other stuff would rather do. So I had disclosed that I am a crafter, and I've pretty much been a crafter my entire life. Let me just check this real quick. Pinch of salt. Boop, boop, boop. Yep. Okay. So here is everything, and we're just going to mix it together, and I need to spray the pan that I'm going to put it into. And it also said in there that you're supposed to separate all this. I don't do that either, guys. Because you're supposed to put like the oatmeal and the butter and the cinnamon on top so it gets crispy. But I find that just mixing them together works just fine. But again, you guys do what works best for you. I've never had anybody complain about my desserts, so. Oh, so the part about me being a crafter. So I've been a crafter pretty much my entire life. I've always had an interest in the arts and sewing and all that kind of stuff. And I started knitting when I was 17. The school had, well, I've probably told this story before, but the librarians would knit and crochet. So my friends, well, just some of these people I didn't even know, we would just like be like, oh, that's really cool that you guys do that. And then they said, well, if you guys show up with knitting supplies at lunchtime, we'll show you how to do it. So I learned how to knit when I was about 17, and I've been knitting ever since. And I don't know how to follow a pattern. I don't know how to read a pattern. And I actually had some ladies that one time I was knitting, and these older ladies asked me, they were like, oh, well, how many, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I actually don't know how to read I don't know how to do patterns. Like, I don't know how to read patterns. I just know how to do the knit stitch over and over and over again. And I make scarves and blankets mostly. So I always just made scarves, and I've been making blankets for years and years and years. And they were like, well, don't you count? And I was like, I've been knitting for over 10 years. I've never counted. And they were like, how is that possible? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't think you were supposed to count unless you were following a pattern. Apparently with knitting, you're supposed to count like the entire time, and I did not know that. And then I told them, I was like, well, I've been knitting for over 10 years and I've never counted before. And they were like, well, don't you drop stitches? And I was like, very, very rarely do I ever drop a stitch. Like when I was first learning, yeah, sometimes, but you know, so I just, like I said, I just do things my way and it works for me, but it's not going to work for everybody, and that's okay too. So here is the apple crisp. I'm going to put it in the pan, well, the baking dish that I had sprayed, and then I will show you guys what it looks like, and then we're going to get it in the oven. Yeah. And you guys can also get apple crisp like boxes where all you do is add the apples. And I've done that before too, and that's a good option. So we're going to show you guys what it looks like inside the dish. So here is my apple crisp. I have my oven preheated to 350, and we are going to get this cooking. Here is the apple crumble all done. I had it in there for 40 minutes, and then I turned off the heat and just let it sit in there. It's still warm. I'm waiting for Mark to get home to eat it, but this is what it looks like, and I think it turned out pretty good.
Hey guys, Mercedes asked me to say hello. This is her man, Magic Mark. Just wanted to give you a shout. She made an apple crisp. I think it was requested by you guys or something like that. I don't really know. I just reap the benefits because now I get to have apple crisp. It's the bomb diggity. I served myself a little bit over here on this plate. If you want to zoom in over here.
Yeah, one of my subscribers had made a request for me to make a dessert. And she said strawberry shortcake first. Mm-hmm. And then I told her I don't know how to make a strawberry shortcake. So then she was like, how about an apple crisp? And I was like, I know how to make those.
Right. Yeah, I really like it. I actually didn't tell Mercedes this, but the day that she made it, I took 2 bites out of it right before I left for work, thinking that it was something special that I was not supposed to be getting into. And then later she told me, hey, I made an apple crisp and it's on the kitchen table if you want some. And I was like, man, I'm in the clear. I don't know if you guys have ever done stuff like that, but I do it all the time. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm excited to try it. And I'll let you know. Here, I'll try it right now.
Take a bite?
Yeah. You guys gonna watch me eat? Be like one of those satisfying videos?
I don't make those kinds of videos.
No. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now guys, this would be good with some whipped cream or some ice cream, but we're just having it as is.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just going to take the next 15 minutes to myself.
You're going to romance that apple crisp?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It is really good.
Yeah.
Thanks, honey.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, guys, so that was my apple crumble. As always, thank you for watching. That was actually a requested video, and you actually got to see a cameo of Mark, so I hope that you guys enjoyed. And the recipe will be in the description box below. Please consider subscribing to my channel, and thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and until next time, bye.